Rachael, you're doing some incredible work through Women's Forum about helping people understand the practical effect of challenges to the definition of woman and the spaces that have been traditionally reserved for women. But I wonder if you can tell us a little something about the danger that comes when we are asked to sign up to what are actually pretty out there political concepts in the name of politeness. You know, we've heard a lot about it's just good manners lately. Well, we're all very good-mannered people, I think, but it pretty quickly becomes coercive. How does that happen? And tell us what we do about it.
So this notion, as you say, of politeness, or we might hear about it being called kindness or inclusivity, these notions have been used to push the fiction that men can be women, that girls can be boys, throughout every facet of our society, harming our entire culture, but in particular women and girls and children. And this coercion is manifesting in multiple different ways. So we have women and girls being forced to share female-only spaces with biological males, whether it be bathrooms, changing rooms, prisons, domestic violence shelters, forced to participate in sport with biological males, forced to acknowledge men as women, otherwise lose their job, be expelled from their party, be sued, be taken to human rights tribunals, be censored, abused, vilified, and so on. And the coercion also manifests in our healthcare system, where children are being encouraged down this pathway of gender care, gender affirmation, resulting in irreversible damage in many, many cases. And then we've got the women who are trying to speak out about these things, and they're being coerced into silence and so on. But I want to mention a few examples in particular in relation to the extreme end, because obviously we've got lost opportunity when it comes to sport, when it comes to awards and all of that. We've got men winning awards. We've got Leah Thomas in the US catapulting from number 462 in female swimming to number 1 in women's swimming. But then we have the extreme end of the spectrum, where women are being sexually assaulted and raped in what should be female-only spaces. So we've seen numerous cases now overseas where women have been imprisoned with biological male sex offenders, raped or sexually assaulted in prison, impregnated in prison. In Australia, we know there are male sex offenders being housed in women's prisons. Victoria, and I've talked with Moira and Sal and worked with multiple women on this particular case, there is a male sex offender currently being housed in a women's prison in Victoria with vulnerable women who many have backgrounds of sexual assault and abuse and trauma. These women have asked the authorities to remove this man. The authorities have ignored them. We've also asked them to remove this man. They've ignored us. And so those are just some of the harms that we're seeing from this idea of being polite and kind and inclusive and, recognising men as women and so on. And it's devastating for our culture and particularly for women and girls.
It is really interesting that those who would have championed feminism back in the days when women were fighting for the vote, those traditional feminists would have almost no place now in a lot of the feminist movement, because what they're now fighting for is for men to be women, taking away what is essentially one of the few distinctions that are truly unable to be surmounted by science or society. It's a really interesting thing.